India's first ever DNA-based All India Synchronous Elephant Estimation for the year 2021 to 2025 has been conducted by Wildlife Institute of India. In fact, this DNA-based elephant estimates have been conducted by collecting the samples of DNA from the dung of the elephants, and through that the elephant estimates have come out. In fact, the total Asian elephants in India's population is currently 22,446, and this shows a decline of nearly 17.81% from the previous estimate conducted in 2017, which was conducted in which in fact gave a number of 27,312 elephants. Now, what we need to understand here is we should not exactly compare the 2017 estimates to the 2025 estimates, primarily because the methodology has changed and the new estimate should be considered as a baseline for the further estimates. But the data in fact reveals that the highest population of elephants in India is present in the state of Karnataka, which has nearly 6,013 elephants, followed by Assam with 4,159 elephants and Tamil Nadu with 3,136 elephants, and then followed by Kerala, Uttarakhand and Odisha. Then along with that, the highest concentration of elephants in India is present in the Western Ghats region with 11,934 elephants, followed by Northeastern Hills and Brahmaputra floodplains, which contain nearly 6,559 elephants. Along with that, the Shivalik and Gangetic plains of India contain 2,000 elephants, and Central India and Eastern Ghats contain somewhere around 1,800 elephants odd. So this is the new estimate that has been conducted. So even though the trend of nearly 18% decline in elephant population is worrisome, but we should not be over concerned with it, primarily because of the change in the methodology, and the new estimate should be considered as the baseline for the current population. These are the things that we need to remember. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has put in a new demand against Bhutan. In fact, she wants the Bhutanese government to compensate for the floods which happened recently in the North Bengal region. She is of the opinion that because of unintimated release of waters from Bhutan, the floods in North Bengal had occurred, and she also revived her earlier demand of India-Bhutan River Commission, in which West Bengal also should get due representation. In fact, we know that the North Bengal floods recently have caused enormous damage to some of the important districts in North Bengal like Darjeeling, and in fact, the government of West Bengal is paying 5 lakh compensation for every person whose life has been lost, and for property damage and houses which have been destroyed, the government is constructing the houses themselves. And in fact, even though this demand seems very outlandish, but definitely there is a need for a joint commission between India and Bhutan in order to manage the rivers, and particularly for management of flood waters. And with more investments in Bhutan's hydroelectricity power, definitely the risk for the downstream Bengal region is going to become higher. That is the reason why there is a need for the joint commission. But when it comes to the claims of compensation, it is not going to be feasible, primarily because internationally till date, none of these claims have ever been approved. And we also should prove that Bhutan has conducted unintimated and sudden release of water into the region. So these two things we have to prove beyond doubt, and this is the concern of the Indian government but not the Bengal government. So that's the reason why, even though the claim of joint commission is a genuine claim, but the claim of compensation is something which is not going to be possible. Finally, the Sharm el-Sheikh summit in Egypt has led to a peace deal. In fact, the peace deal is uniquely named as Trump Declaration for Enduring Peace and Prosperity, which is also being called as Gaza Declaration. In fact, this Gaza Declaration at Sharm el-Sheikh summit in Egypt has been supported by nearly 30 nations which participated in the summit. And the deal has been countersigned by 4 nations, that is USA is one, second is Egypt, the third is Qatar, and along with that the 4th nation is Turkey. In fact, the deal contains numerous new elements, but at the same time it leaves behind many issues unresolved. Primarily, the question which is being raised is the declaration is not clear with respect to the establishment of Palestinian state, which is a burning problem in West Asia. Then along with that, even though the deal contains the provision of hostage exchange, Hamas has released the hostages, but at the same time, many sections of the Israeli society are against release of Palestinian hostages. Then over and above this, the third important challenge is, even though the plan contains, in fact, demilitarization, withdrawal of troops, but it also contains disarming of Hamas. But how the disarming of Hamas is going to happen, there is no clear plan forward. In fact, the deal, it says very clearly that the ceasefire should be converted into permanent peace in the region, but permanent peace should definitely be based on justice, and what kind of justice should be given to the Palestinian people is not clear in the deal. But the deal is definitely a price-worthy thing, primarily because it permits some of the things which have been denied to the people of Gaza, that is humanitarian access and aid, which converted the Israel's war in Gaza into a genocide. Then apart from this, even though Trump's claims seems to be very, very outlandish and very strong, but on ground, the governance and the transition issues are not clear. So because of which reason, the sustainability of this peace accord, how far Israel is going to uphold it, primarily because the Israeli Prime Minister, even though he was invited to the peace summit, he denied attendance to the peace summit, saying that there is an Israeli public holiday. So this shows that Israel might not be very committal about the peace deal, which is going to create more problems. The vital statistics of India based on civil registration system for the year 2023 have been released. And these statistics are collected by Registrar General of India, and this showed a continued decline in the registered births in India, and at the same time there is an increase in registered deaths in India. In fact, this vital statistics of India based on civil registration system has stated that in the year 2023, there were 2.52 crore registered births in India, whereas the number of registered deaths was nearly 86.6 lakh deaths have been registered. So the birth rate has declined in comparison to 2022, whereas the death rate has got enhanced. Then along with that, the report also shows major spike in deaths in the year 2021. Earlier there was a substantial rise in the death rate, primarily because of COVID. Nearly 21 lakh additional deaths have happened in the year 2021, but we don't have a similar scenario now. And at the same time, the vital statistics also give a report on sex ratio at birth, and in fact, it states very clearly that the highest SRB performers are Arunachal Pradesh, where for every 1,000 male births, there have been 1,085 female births. Similarly, in Northeast India, Nagaland, then along with that, Tripura, Goa are the best performers in the child birth or SRB ratio, that is sex ratio at birth ratio. Whereas the worst performing states are Maharashtra, where there is only 909 female births for male births, Telangana with 906, Bihar with 900, and Jharkhand is the worst performer with 899 female births in comparison to male births. In fact, there is increasing number of child registrations across the country, and according to the data, in fact, nearly 11 states in India have shown more than 90% registration of births. Whereas, so one more important thing is the civil registration system, in fact, is done under Registration of Births and Deaths Act 1969, under which every individual is legally obligated to register every birth and death in his family. Thank you.